Good. So let me start. And first of all, thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you will find this webinar informative, useful to yourself, and hopefully the learnings from this webinar you will be able to apply to your day-to-day work as well. So to start with, myself, Rajneesh Gautam, I've got Shari with me as well. We both belong to a London-based MarTech boutique company, consultancy called Dexeta. I'm the founder, and Charlie is our CMO. We both have been working in MarTech for quite a long time, and when last, I think in October, we were thinking about why there are so many meetups in London around data practices, around CRO and everything, but there was none around MarTech. And thought, okay, why shouldn't we start meetup where we bring all the like-minded people in this industry together, at least for London, but I know a lot of people today are not from London and from the rest of the part of the world as well. So we started this meetup to bring all of MarTech people together and then talk about the common topics. And then discuss those. And we benefited from each other's knowledge and learn and apply those learnings to our day-to-day work to get more benefits. Just to talk about what we are going to discuss today. So in last 13 months or so, the two topics which have swept everyone in MarTech away are one, of course, generative AI. Everyone's talking about it. I'm sure somewhere or another you guys are already working on something which is impacted by Gen AI. And the second topic, which many marketers are kind of worried of, scared of, is the demise of cookies or third-party cookies. And with 1st of January, Google already started rolling it out to 1% of their customers, though we know recently there were a couple of reports which actually have criticized their approach. And they are saying okay, there are lots of issues with their privacy sandbox. But this is exactly what we are going to talk about today, like how marketers and brands can be ready for that inevitable loss of cookies for one day. So without that further ado, let me actually bring my colleague Shari, and who's going to talk about what the topics for today's webinar are, and also introduce our partners from Playrcart and Tealium as well.
Thank you, Rajneesh, and wonderful to see you all and meet you, see some familiar faces and some new ones as well. Rajneesh provided a fantastic introduction. I'm Charlie. I'm the CMO here at Dexeta, and also really proud to be part of the MarTech London community and the meetup group that we are establishing to bring the community together to talk about such topics as the cookie demise or cookiepocalypse, if we use a more dramatic term, as well as solutions to capture, manage and activate audiences beyond the cookie demise, which will be key themes we'll be talking about today alongside our partners who are co-hosting with us today. So we've got Dom, who is from Playrcart. Louis, I'll let him introduce himself, as well as Michael and Ian from Tealium. So we're really pleased that they are co-hosting along with us. But we're wanting this community to be a really dynamic and inclusive community, a space to explore these topics. So I'll hand over to Dom and Michael and Ian in a second to introduce themselves. But just wanted to provide a quick rundown as well of how we're going to approach this webinar. So the first part after these initial greetings are to set the context, really talk about what's currently happening with the cookie demise, provide a wide, broad introduction to the solutions, the alternatives available to us as marketers for overcoming the challenges that come with cookie demise. And then we'll be focusing on one particular alternative, which is prioritizing first-party data and looking at how we can harness those, particularly with Playrcart and Tealium. Throughout the session, we'll keep participants on mute, and we'll keep your videos off just so you can kind of focus and watch the webinar and the presentation. However, really want to make this an engaging and collaborative space. So the chat box is open. Highly encourage you to leave your questions, any thoughts, ideas, comments. Please pop them in. We'll be monitoring the chat box as we go and addressing questions at the end. The session is also being recorded. I know many of you have already opted in for the recording to be shared with you after the webinar. So there will be an email sent out. If you haven't opted in already, feel free to contact Rajneesh and myself, and we will make sure that you get a copy. But to make the most of this webinar, please be as engaged and use the chat box so that we can make this an engaging experience for everyone. So without further ado, I will hand over to Dom and Ian and Michael quickly for an initial introduction. We'll each have a longer part to go into more depth throughout the presentation. But yeah, that's enough of me for now. Let's hand over to Dom from Playrcart.
Thank you, everyone. Lovely to meet you all, and thank you all for being on the call today. My name's Dom Perkins, and as Charlie said, I'm from Playrcart, but as I'll spoil that surprise in a second, we've actually just been acquired this week. So we're now under the new name of Glui, GLUI. But really looking forward to this. And as Charlie said, really looking forward to some questions, and let's make it as engaging as possible. So I'll hand over to the guys at Tealium. Ian.
So good afternoon, everybody. It's really nice to be here. I'll talk a bit more about what I do as we get into the webinar, but I'm really looking forward to having some good discussions with people about their first-party data challenges and even their zero-party data challenges, which is a term you might not have heard of, but we can talk about more later on. So hope you all get something from this, and perhaps we can have some deeper conversations later. Michael.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks everybody. It's great to see such a healthy attendance this afternoon. I think it probably shows how prevalent and important these topics are that we're talking about today. So yeah, as Ian mentioned, we do kind of introduce Tealium a little bit more throughout the webinar and the content today. But if anyone's got any questions outside of today, or as typically happens, as soon as the session finishes, you think of something that you desperately want to find out, all of our contact details will be shared afterwards. So yeah, looking forward to speaking to you all after that as well. But with no further ado, we should probably get cracking.
Great. Perfect. Thank you so much, Ian, Tom, and Michael. So just to let you know, everyone, the demo and all the next parts are recorded, given we are distributed across multiple locations. So it was very difficult to bring all of them together in one single place. So for efficiency purposes, we have actually recorded everything, but please feel free to ask us any questions or provide us your feedback and comments while we are talking about. Thank you.
So, are you ready for the depreciation of third-party cookies? Google has initiated the depreciation of third-party cookies. Commencing on January 4th, just over a month ago, they began by removing third-party cookies for 1% of users, with plans to eliminate them for 100% of users, everyone, by the end of Q3 this year, being 2024. A recent 2023 statistical report revealed that 75% of marketers rely on third-party cookies. Basis Technologies also recently did a study releasing some findings in January showing that 33.8% of marketers and advertisers are not confident about reaching their target audiences if third-party cookies are completely deprecated. Marketers face the imperative task of discovering new methods to capture customer information, posing a significant challenge for organizations that have traditionally relied on cookies for advertising and user behavior tracking. And this is where first-party data is so valuable. It's a method that involves directly collecting information from a company's customers or website visitors. Can help them become revenue drivers for marketing teams. So the demand for first-party data is really clear. According to a recent study by Twilio, 85% of consumers prefer companies to use only first-party data. The value is even clearer, with Google and Boston Consulting Group finding that brands that utilize first-party data in their marketing campaigns earned 2.9 times higher revenue and increased cost savings by 1.5 times compared to those not leveraging first-party data. While the competition for first-party data is high, people are generally willing to share their data. Another study by Google and Boston Consulting Group found that 90% of customers are willing to share their email addresses for a small incentive, such as a discount. But building a first-party data relationship requires time and trust, akin to any other relationship. Companies can foster this trust by ensuring they target the right individuals, sending relevant messages, and providing incentives that encourage opt-ins. To facilitate this process, various incentives and lead magnets can be employed, tailored to the nature of the business. For example, for B2C, you can use discounts, one-time coupons, free samples, newsletters, free shipping, and contests, which can all be great incentives. For B2B, on the other hand, ebooks, product demos, free trials, webinars, reports, and case studies can incentivize new leads and sign-ups. Vodafone is a great example of a brand that has incentivized customers to provide their data by offering a wide selection of offers, giveaways, and prize draws in their loyalty app, VeryMe Awards. This strategy not only rewarded individuals, but also fostered trust, resulting in mutual gains for both customers and Vodafone. Leveraging, enticing, and captivating creatives can fast-track the journey of constructing first-party data. Incorporating creative transactional ads is a game changer, allowing you to swiftly gather first-party data and cultivate an engaged audience by encouraging users to share their details right then and there. So, no more delays. I'm going to hand over to Rajneesh, who will be exploring transactable ads further and how they, with the power of incentivization, can help you build and activate your first-party data. Over to you, Rajneesh.
Thank you, Charlie. I myself love the VeryMe loyalty scheme of Vodafone a lot. And trust me, I have used it many times to grab a free flat white at a nearby Costa. It was an apt introduction to why brands need to put first-party data at the core of their marketing strategy. In the next part of this webinar, I'll expand on the potential of incentivization to gather first-party data. I'll demo how marketing teams can harness technologies like Playrcart and Tealium CDP to enhance their data-driven marketing initiatives. So let's dive in.
I assume everyone here has heard about the golden circle of Simon Sinek. In the previous part of this webinar, Charlie talked us through the why of today's topic of first-party data-driven marketing. In this part, I'll demonstrate how brands such as Vodafone can achieve the objective using technologies like Playrcart and Tealium CDP. You'll also see what an expected business outcome of a prospect sharing their data as they see the benefit of joining Vodafone's loyalty program.
A typical approach to use a brand's USP to incentivize prospects for collecting first-party data and use that data for marketing purposes requires 4 parts. First, the marketing team needs to identify the USP which may be used as an incentive for the visitors. In this demo, we have used Vodafone as the brand and their loyalty scheme, VeryMe Awards, as that incentive. Second, we need a way to show this incentive to potential prospects so that we can collect their data. Our partners, Playrcart, can integrate with any paid advertising channel to show the marketing message and collect the data shared by the visitors. We also need an audience management and activation platform to use the collected first-party data and configure audiences. Our partners, Tealium, are one of the leading enterprise solutions for consumer data platforms, or CDPs. What's the benefit of data if we don't use it, right? In this demo, we have used SendGrid to send a real-time welcome newsletter to qualified audiences describing benefits of the VeryMe Awards program. To keep the webinar relevant to today's topic, we have skipped some parts of marketing operations, such as content management and campaign reporting. Please remember to take care of these while using the approach presented today in the webinar and applying it to your real-life use cases. So let's go through all these steps in a bit more detail. To collect first-party data for enhanced marketing, Vodafone marketing team decides to target prospects who are not existing customers. A marketing message explaining the benefits of their VeryMe Rewards program is shown as contextual marketing. In this case, on a website often visited by the coffee lovers like me. Playrcart provides a patented way of displaying transactable ads, which means visitors need not leave the ad space where the marketing message is presented. This helps in conversion rate, which we'll discuss later today. Through this technology, a form is shown asking visitors for their data to get updated about the VeryMe program. When a visitor enters their data, it is passed to Tealium CDP through a secure real-time API connection. Note that visitors can control their marketing preferences before submitting the form. Traditionally, such data collection approaches send data to CRM platforms, which is not really efficient. This alternate approach of sending data to Tealium CDP instead has got 2 big benefits. One, it massively saves time in developing APIs for transferring data from marketing platforms to CRM platforms. And 2, it cuts down unnecessary time to send data to CRM first, then get it back in the CDP again for marketing purposes. Tealium CDP ingests the visitor data shared by Playrcart and creates corresponding profiles. These profiles are later used to configure audiences and sent to platforms supporting people-based marketing, such as Meta, Google, and email platforms. In this demo, we have used Tealium functions, a very powerful capability that allows marketers to convert Tealium CDP into a marketing automation tool. We have used Tealium functions to invoke multiple actions within SendGrid, creating a contact, duplicating a newsletter template, and scheduling the delivery of personalized email simply by calling the APIs provided by SendGrid. To show how Tealium CDP activates first-party data-driven audiences in a people-based marketing platform, we have used SendGrid as part of this demo. As discussed previously, Tealium functions capability invokes SendGrid's APIs to automatically create contacts, copy a pre-configured email template as shown here, and schedule these emails.
The outcome is a qualified audience receiving a welcome email from Vodafone in near real time, as shown on the screen. So one question some of you may ask is, why do we need to send data to CDP instead of direct integration with the underlying CRM systems? A good question. The approach we have presented today has two big benefits. One, it massively saves time in developing APIs for transferring data from marketing platforms to CRM platforms. And second, it cuts down unnecessary time to send data to CRM first, then get it back to the CDP again for marketing purposes. Traditional approach requires multiple steps as shown in this diagram, which makes it less efficient and time consuming. Playrcart handling data collection within the ad space itself increases conversion rate. Additionally, data ingestion in Tealium CDP enables improved audience management as well as integration with multiple systems, including people-based marketing platforms, CRM platforms, and consent management platforms. I trust this demo with a practical example of leveraging incentivization to collect first-party data will shed light on how brands can thrive in a cookie-led landscape. Now, without further ado, I'll pass the floor to Tom Perkins, MD of Playrcart, to delve into their groundbreaking technology and its impact on their client success.
Thank you to Dexata for inviting me here today. My name is Dom Perkins. I am the Managing Director here at Playrcart. Before we get into the presentation, just a very brief announcement. Playrcart has been acquired this week by a US company called Gluey. It's really exciting times for us and the team as we embark on the journey to further expand the Playrcart technology out into the global marketplace, specifically into the US. And alongside the acquisition, the Playrcart brand will be rebranded into Gluey in the coming weeks. So really exciting times, and I'm really looking forward to moving forward with the team at Gluey. So what does Playrcart actually do? Well, Playrcart enables any digital asset into a transactional opportunity, either buy, book, or even donate. The user, importantly, never leaves the trusted site they're visiting. They remain within the unit, they can complete the journey in minimal steps, and then they can return to the content where they were engaging without ever having to be redirected to a secondary website. We received a patent for this last January in the US, for end-to-end transaction within a video player or rich media unit. That has been expanded even further now, and we have one in South Africa as well. We are waiting for a European and UK patent to be awarded along the same lines. We're improving the UX experience for consumers, helping brands grow their CRM data by engaging with consumers. By engaging with consumers through our unit, we're delivering a wealth of intent and measurement data as well. Why? Because if you're looking to do the full funnel transaction in one place, it means you, as the client delivering the ad, can now see exactly what the consumer does through that journey. If they only make the first section and put their first name in and then discard their basket or discard the journey and leave, it means you can track them, and you can track them in real time. So in theory, you could retarget them halfway through the journey with a better offer or with a different offer if they do end the journey and carry on browsing. And the next time they go to another site, another platform, you can target them with a different offer. It also enables direct consumer opportunities for brands who have commerce capabilities and want to enable a mobile shopping experience. We don't move any or change any of the current commerce technology stack that the brand is using. We simply integrate into the commerce stack using simple APIs, open APIs, which the technology partner supplies us with. So what are we helping to solve? Well, we call this 17 reasons not to buy. This is an average checkout or a retail site. The initial drop-off is when the users clicked on the ad, they arrive on the site and they have to immediately now go through the process of passing their data and giving permissions for data. Then the consumer doesn't always get taken to exactly the product advertised, but a multitude of different offerings. Once they find what they wanted, they then have to sign in, sign up, and then go through the different capture steps in most cases. The drop-off can be as huge as 0.02% actually getting through to fulfill what they were there to do in that play in the first place. So in this example of 1.84% click-through rate, only 0.02% of that 1.84% went through to perform an action. That's a huge drop-off of hard spent marketing money to engage consumers and then lose them because of a poor journey. So I'm going to talk you through what the actual unit looks like. Here we can see a L'Oreal unit on Cosmopolitan. There's a clear click or buy me now button. The consumer can then, within the advert, click buy me now, and they remain within the advert. Here, L'Oreal wanted to have a more of an Amazon type journey, so they wanted reviews and information, but that was customizable by us. Now you start the journey where you can see my details are remembered within the browser, cached within the browser, self-populating. You have all the terms, conditions, and GDPR compliance there, which the consumer can quite easily see and investigate. Now you put your postcode in, and this is powered by Experian in the background. You get to look at the multitude of different addresses in that postcode, click the right one, and then you press next onto the next part. Very similarly to before, your details for your card are cached within the browser, and here you simply just have to put your CVC code in and then press pay. And that's it. The journey is done. You remain within the ad unit that you were there browsing, and more importantly, you remain on the publisher's site. This is great for publishers that spend awful lots of money through content and SEO, bringing their consumers to the site, selling them ads or selling them goods through the ads, and then instantly losing that consumer as they're redirected off to another website. So what does our journey look like? Well, step one here is once you've clicked on the ad is an API directly into the stock feed, or that could be location of a test drive or even a location of a shop. It's literally a direct integration so that we know exactly that that product is in stock and the consumer doesn't get to the end of the journey and realize, oh, actually, it's not available. Then they click through to add their details. Again, really simple here. The consumer starts putting their details in. That is directly integrated straight through the CDP or directly into the CRM platform. We're a sub-processor of the data, and the data literally goes into our platform for milliseconds and then is removed straight through to the partner's CRM. We don't want to touch it, and anything that we do have is completely destroyed. The end user can then input their delivery details or location if it is a test drive. And as I said before, that's powered by Experian and is global data. That can either be used, as I said, for delivery details or for a test drive. They then click next and then go on to the payment part. We support all major payment gateways and we simply do an API integration. And again, we don't see any of the credit card details or payment details. They are all obscured and they go straight through to the payment gateway. And that's it. 4 very simple steps. It's even better when there's Google or Apple Pay. Literally, it's a 1-step checkout, and that can be on desktop or on a phone. It doesn't matter. But as you can see there, it really, really reduces the dropout of anybody going through that journey. It's so simple. I've added this demo as it's one of the most successful we've done. This is AccuView, and they wanted to run it in the Middle East. As you can see, there's a lot of information that they're showing them here. They're really guiding the consumer here through what they can do, which is get a free trial of the contact lens. Once the consumer knows what they're doing, they can then start putting their details in. And again, it's the normal journey. You can see here, they're also able to ask additional questions. Really successful campaign, a really, really quick journey. And the guys at J&J for AccuView are so pleased with this, they're coming back and doing more and more of these campaigns in different territories. And I wanted to show you that one because it really is about showing the consumer what they're doing and making it easy for them and removing all the barriers all the way through that journey. Finally, I just wanted to show you a very brief case study. We did this with Hyundai, where the client saw a massive 18% conversion rate of users that engaged with the unit. You think back to the engagement rate I showed you before of a typical website journey where it was 0.02%. It really has increased that conversion rate for Hyundai in this case. And the other really significant number there is 18% of total leads for the overall campaign came from the Playrcart unit. Now, we only ran 5% of that budget. So you can see how reducing friction enables the user to seamlessly move through the journey. Thank you very much.
Hi there. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Tealium, so Tealium is a platform of tools designed to enable brands to collect, combine, and activate their first-party data. Tealium, with its integration marketplace of over 1,400 client and server-side integrations, is able to collect data from virtually any data source, combine that data using consent and privacy controls to build a single view of the customer, and then activate that data across multiple channels. All of this is done in real time, literally in the moment, and enables brands to consolidate complex tech stacks to drive customer experience-related outcomes across different activation tools. I lead a lot of our strategic partnerships across the EMEA region, including with Dexata and Playrcart, and we're proud to be a member of the Martech London meetup crew. And Ian is about to take us through how you can easily build a multi-channel campaign using that data collected and orchestrated via Tealium. Over to you, Ian.
Hi, I'm Ian. I'm Principal Solution Consultant at Tealium, and I'm going to talk to you about building a multi-channel campaign platform. We provide comprehensive systems to connect all data to all places to enable your marketing journeys without ripping and replacing existing tech. Whenever we work with our customers, it's really important to try not to build everything at once. Otherwise, you end up with a long, expensive, and potentially out-of-date setup at the end. This is the boil the ocean approach. We've seen many companies come to us after their projects have cost them millions and failed to deliver value because they took this build it all at once approach. It's much easier to look at the campaigns and data flows you need to deliver value. You can then deliver them one by one, immediately seeing value at each use case. And to do this, we're going to break down the use cases into 4 sections, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. Let's look at how we can define a value-driven use case and expand it to make it fully omnichannel. But first, what is a use case? Well, a use case is based on looking at your business objectives, your OKRs, your KPIs, your metrics that this use case is going to deliver, and the campaigns that it's part of. So you've got your metrics. Then you're going to have several ad tech and martech channels you choose to deliver the campaign that affects those KPIs and metrics. Next, you won't send that message to everyone. You'll need to build up just the right amount of data that allows you to segment that data to send the message to the correct people. And then finally, you decide where that data comes from. You don't load all data, you just process the specific pieces you need. Maybe it's only web data. Maybe it's multi-channel online and offline. You decide on a use case by use case basis. So let's build up from the ground how we deliver more value on top of the use case you've already seen. So just as a baseline, let's illustrate the use case we saw in the demonstration earlier. We want to improve the conversion rate and increase the number of new customers. We do that through emails sent by SendGrid. But we have a marketplace of hundreds of integrations requiring no code that allow you to do this. It's focused on pay monthly and newsletter signups. And the data comes directly from Playrcart. So that's how that use case can be established. Now let's expand it. So what's next? Well, it's likely you have your own website and or a mobile app with journeys that capture similar data. So you want to add that in and use that as an additional way to trigger the same email campaign. Often email is not the only channel you want to use. So why not coordinate some social advertising and the email communications together? It's the same campaign on different channels, and there's no competition between channels or mixed messages from each channel because it's all controlled centrally. This control is delivered via our huge infrastructure at massive scale. For example, on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, we processed 27 billion page views, screen swipes, and completed transaction events. That's over 80,000 per second at peak. There's more. So we should probably think about display advertising via, say, Google, or any of the many DSPs that we support, like the Trade Desk. And this is all delivered in real time. Your customers live in real time. They're on your site right now. So why wait hours to personalize a message to them in the moment? And there we have it. It's a multi-channel campaign delivering a single customer view based on multiple devices and data sources. And this is something we can deliver in under 12 weeks. We usually deliver 3 to 5 of them in that time, actually. And Michael has some examples of customers doing this today.
Awesome, thanks, Ian. Dynamo needed to find a way to connect disparate data sets and unify its customer data to a single platform, with the ultimate aim of building multi-channel campaigns just like the ones Ian has been taking us through. Using Tealium Audience Stream, Dynamo have delivered a number of behavior-led campaigns and have been able to match twice as many users who abandoned baskets, seeing a conversion uplift of 15%. Dynamo has also seen click-through and conversion uplifts by incorporating a favourite category in their welcome journey for new contacts, enabling personalisation with the use of unified first-party data. Thomas Sabo had to adapt at some pace to cater for a world in and after COVID. The in-store experience one receives at a Thomas Sabo branch is very challenging to replicate online, and Thomas Sabo saw a high number of cart abandoners as a result prior to working with Tealium. With our customer data hub, Thomas Sabo is able to have a granular understanding of an individual based on leveraging insights from a multitude of data sources in order to tailor the experience. Conversion rates improved to 7 times higher than average off the back of this activity.
Okay, let's continue the conversation a bit more. We can add store data, contact center data, because sometimes people buy on the phone or in a store. And that's great because now we have all the conversion data from all the sources: website, player cart, stores, contact center. We can bring it all in batch, near time, but more importantly, in real time without the need for any code, and in many cases using a point and click interface. And I guess a final question, particularly now that we're well into 2024, is how are you approaching the changes to cookies? With Tealium, we can add in another of our connectors to track conversion data using Facebook's Conversions API, or one of the many more Conversions APIs that allow you to bypass the need for cookies and deliver the data directly to the vendors. Google, Snapchat, etc. all support this now. And that's the way to future-proof things. So, in fact, you have a store of all the interactions with all campaigns leading up to the conversion, they can actually be piped to your data warehouse as well for deeper attribution or media mix modeling. So now you have not only a way to activate your campaigns, but also a way to track and measure the campaigns. And Michael's got a final example of a company using a conversions API successfully today.
Perfect. Thanks, Ian. Our relationship with TUI initially centered around future-proofing social ad spend. By using Tealium Event Stream, our server-side API hub, TUI were able to gain insights around social behaviors to drive better results for their partners like Trivago and TripAdvisor. They also saw cost per bookings drop 6%, conversion rates for social traffic increased 29%, and return on ad spend increased by 18%, which is some seriously impressive results.
So, are you ready? So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dom and Ian and Michael, for that wonderful presentation. It's been wonderful to run through this topic with you all and kind of present the solution that has been devised with utilizing both your platforms together. And also thank you all for the joining us today. We're so thrilled that it's been such a fantastic turnout, especially because it's our first Martech London webinar. It's truly heartening to bring the community together and discuss this important topic. Want to open the floor up now to any questions that were asked during the chat. If you have any questions that you didn't raise during the presentation, feel free to still use the chat to drop them now, and we can spend some time addressing them. I know that there were a couple of questions that were asked, particularly around server tracking, so S2S, as a potential alternative to third-party cookies, and also a question around examples that the impact of third-party cookie depreciation will have, and how CDPs such as Tealium's can help. So for those two questions, I will invite Ian to discuss his answer, which was left in the chat, but I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to hear that may be of interest to you as well. So Ian, are you there, and are you able to respond and talk through these questions?
I am here. Are you able to sort of call out each question one at a time, and then I'll answer them in order, if that makes sense?
Absolutely. So the first question: can server tracking, so S2S, be seen as an alternative to third-party cookies without actually losing the third-party cookies themselves?
Yeah, so I mean, it's probably terminology more than anything, but you won't. The short answer is yes. On a technical point, you're going to lose the third-party cookies, because as soon as Chrome stops doing it, there are no web browsers that will support the use of third-party cookies. So what you need to do is move to the use of first-party identifiers instead of cookies. So there are different strategies for doing this, but once you've got those identifiers, and they're easy to set today, and some of them are automatically done on your website, or could be set by, say, Tealium on their website. Server-to-server tracking allows you to then send that data to a vendor, and it's not just about making sure that the data gets there. It is about making sure the data gets there, because not only are we talking about third-party cookies, but there are other things that are changing or have already changed. So in websites, people have ad blockers, things like Ghostery and uBlock. These are techniques that mean that even if you did have a third-party cookie, the actual code that runs on the website gets blocked. So it's not just the third-party cookies disappearing, It's data privacy and browser changes, as well as people's ability to add into the browsers blocking technologies that are they're all getting in the way of data getting delivered. And so by using server-to-server approaches, you've got other ways of getting that data to the same place. So in my example of Facebook, if the Facebook data doesn't get from the browser to Facebook, it can go via the Tealium server-to-server capability, and it still gets there. So there's quite a few things to pull out from this, particularly if you're not familiar with some of the tech around this. Happy to go into that in a bit more details. But I appreciate it's probably quite a big-ish topic for right now, but hopefully that answers the question initially.
Thank you, Ian. And to Ellie, who asked this question, appreciate this question. Yeah, feel free to reach out to Ian and the Tealium team to talk further about this. Second question, Ian, that was responded by you. Thank you very much. Can you share a practical example of the impact of third-party cookie depreciation and in practice how Tealium CVP can help us being the asker? Also, what activities should we take now as part of the preparation to prevent or undermine impacts and effects of third-party cookies depreciation? So before, Ian, I hand the floor back to you to answer this question. Something that during this webinar, we focused on first-party data as an alternative of what can be done to prepare for the depreciation. There are a lot of other alternatives which we will mention in the post webinar follow-up email, which we'll be sending out to those who opted in. If you didn't opt in, please drop me a line and share your email. So there's a number of different things that can be done to prepare for cookie depreciation, looking at, say, the privacy sandbox, as Rajesh mentioned. There are still some things that need to be smoothed out with that, but that's one way. Looking at Google Topics API, looking at contextual and content marketing. Yeah, a wide variety of different tactics that can be utilized, including zero and second party data activation of capture and activation as well. So there's as mentioned, there's a wide variety of different things that can be done in preparation of third party cookie depreciation. I will hand the floor back to Ian to talk further about what Tealium specializes in with this, or to overcome these challenges. But yeah, if you want to know more about the wide variety of different tactics that can be used, please feel free to reach out to us as well. Ian.
Great. So the thing that third-party cookies provided you with was data about what people are doing, and what you need. So think of a signal. Let's say I want to send a message to somebody. Can I get the message through? Like, is there a way to talk to each other? And then what is contained in the message? Is it an emoji? Is it a cat GIF? What is it? And what does that mean to me? So think about your website. You're going to use maybe it's Google Analytics, maybe it's Facebook. These are technologies that at the moment can use third-party cookies to get their signal through and the right data through. So there's two parts to this. First of all, the signal. Can I actually send the data to Facebook? The second thing is, what is the data that I'm going to send to Facebook to make Facebook understand me? And in the example I typed in the text, it's about, I'm on the first, so Dom showed those 17 stages of a buying process. How do I know that you're the same person throughout those 17 stages? It's because every single web page gets a little bit of tracking information that sends it through to Facebook that says, Ian's now at this stage, Ian's now at this stage, and so on. Now, knowing how many times I've interacted with you is really important to understanding the journey and being able to track the value of the advertising and marketing spend. So imagine if suddenly either the signal's blocked, so you don't get a message about me. So that means now you've got a broken journey and you don't know exactly how far I got through the journey. Now imagine you've got your hundreds of thousands or millions of customers, and that's a huge chunk of data that's now missing because it got blocked. The second thing that might happen is perhaps not all the data is available. So you can send a message, but it doesn't have all the points you want. So for example, with a third-party cookie being blocked, you know that I'm on the website, but you don't know, I kind of get reset to being a brand new person again that you've got to learn all about. So it could mean that you see two different people on the website at different parts of the journey, and you can't work out that they are the same person because you missed some of the data in the message. So that's what third-party cookie deprecation plus those other ad tracking challenges that I talked about, that's how they all come together. And so the things that you want to do are look at the ways to ensure the signals get through. So that's the server side delivery of data to get around blockages. And it's to improve the quality of the data. So you can still use first-party cookies. You can persist other information in your data layer, in your websites and in your apps. But what a lot of people want, if they want to identify the individual, are more persistent and unique identifiers like email addresses and telephone numbers. And in order to know it's the same person every time and pass the right information across, you've got to have a platform in there that can do that. So that would be, say, Tealium's event stream or Tealium's audience stream CDP, because they are ways to get that data through and to become a store of those first-party data. So starting to think about ways to improve the way your signal gets through and starting to think about the ways to improve the data so that it becomes more valuable to the end receiver of that data. Those are the things you want to start looking at.
Great. And we have got one more question, which I believe would be great for you to answer, is around where does Tealium collect its data, whether it's in the US or in the EU, and do you only send it through the ad tech solutions? And is Tealium within the data privacy framework?
Okay, so we'll do those one step at a time. So if you're using our server-side delivery of data, think of that a bit like a tag manager but a server-side version of that. What that means is there's no persistence of data. The data just gets delivered straight away. When you use the CDP and you start to build up a profile of somebody and you store those identifiers, then we do store that data. So there are different technologies and different approaches to that. There's different storage requirements for each of those. So when we collect it and we store it, it's based on Amazon Web Services, and you get to choose where the data is resident. So within the European Union, we primarily use Frankfurt, so EU Central region, but we also support EU West region, so that's in Dublin. If you are a global organization, you can actually decide where individual customers' data is resident depending on where they are. So if you also have a US website, that could be resident in one of the US regions. So we have that ability to do that. Carrying on, when we get the data and then decide to pass it on, the question is, do we only send it through to ad tech solutions? And the answer is no. We are about empowering the delivery of data to anywhere that needs it. So if there's a blockage in your data, or if it's real effort to to spin up a cloud infrastructure and write some code to hit an API, we're here to provide that. So what that means is it's ad tech, it's MarTech, it's data tech. So if you want to push data into AWS, into Azure, into Google Cloud Platform, we're a great way of collecting that data and just pushing it into your data platform for your wider usage. If you want to send an email, we can send the data to your email provider. If you just want to track ad tech and social media, we can send that data. So it's a broader set of data that we can send. And the final question is about the data privacy framework, which I believe is the latest agreement between the EU and the United States. Because there's a legal element to this, I'm going to follow up in our extra email, because I want to make sure that I'm answering the very precise question, which I think is that the answer is yes, it's the replacement to Privacy Shield, but I don't want to be incorrect. If you want to follow up with more details in the chat or later on to get a more precise answer, I'm happy to work with you on that.
Thank you, Ian. And we'll confirm with you and include it in the note around it in the post-webinar follow-up email. One final question, and this is for Dom. To enable Playrcart or Glue use cases, what all will be required to implement? This is quite, I think it's quite a simple process, but it might be something for the asker to reach out to Playrcart about or Glue separately after this webinar. But Dom, I'll let you share a quick summary if you possibly can. Yeah, what will be required to implement Playrcart use cases?
Good. Just give us
1 second. Sorry, we just need to.
You just need to unmute Dom. Yeah, Dom. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you very much. It's been quiet all afternoon. Thank you. So yeah, really simple. All we do is the Playrcart platform is a really simple integration via straight RESting APIs, either directly through Tealium, which is what we have set up with for the Vodafone example, or in other cases we can through an API go straight through to the CRM platform, so Salesforce or anybody else. It's a very simple integration and real time. But yeah, please do reach out to me. I'm more than happy to go through that in more detail, but it is really super simple.
Thank you, Dom. Well, we're coming to the end, the very end. So thank you all for attending. It's been, yeah, truly a fantastic turnout for our first webinar. So this is our first webinar, as mentioned. We're really keen to organise more events. We're planning more events, both online and in person. So keep an eye out for updates and announcements. We'll also be sending out this post-webinar follow-up email, the recording, and a few pointers. But if you have any questions, follow-up questions that haven't been asked or addressed in this webinar, please reach out to us. We're all ears and we'd love chatting. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And in regards to future events as well, if you have ideas for other MarTech related events or topics that you'd like discussed, let us know. So yeah, thank you all for attending. Yeah, it's been a real joy to connect with you all. And thank you to Dom, Michael, Ian, and Rajneesh.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. Hope you found it useful. And as Charlie said, we'll keep doing more of these and keep coming back to you with more of the knowledge nuggets. And again, thank you, Ian, Michael, and Tom for presenting some really valuable insights to your tools and what they can do. Great. Brilliant. Thank you, everyone.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.